I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Peterson here.
Zakarian here.
Shabilsky here.
Robner here. Okay.
Am I here yet, Jesse?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, well, we're going to go to some new business. First item A, resolution to allow virtual attendance and participation for Franklin Board of Water Commissioner meetings.
Mr. Commissioner, I had a phone call from one of your board that asked that we consider allowing remote participation. Checking with it, I will tell you up front, our legal counsel is not overly enthused about the idea, but we did do some research, and you do have the ability, if you want, to make it allowable for your board for remote participation. There are some things I have to do to make sure the public's notified and so forth. And I apologize profusely. I should have probably followed up with, especially seeing the confusion, I should have followed up with a phone call to each of you and let you know what the issue was. So it's not in effect yet, and if you were to turn down this resolution, after Mr. Dukniak, but if you do allow it, this does allow for, it doesn't have to be every time. Commissioner can let us know ahead of time if he does or doesn't want meeting to be virtual, and but if it is, we have to publicize it as such and make it available for the public, and we have to do on our end, but we can do those. So again, our legal counsel is not in favor, but it is okay to do. I guess
Can we hear
With that
from legal
induction.
counsel as to why it's not a good idea?
Doesn't go strictly on some legal basis, but just from a city of Franklin policy basis. Number one, the overall authorizations previously granted during these COVID times expired, I believe, on June 5, all boards and commissions, and allowed virtual attendance, and it'll by members as well as applicants for participation, and only watch and view by the public. And the thought was consistency, even though I recognize that the Board of Water Commissioners, Franklin Municipal Water Utility, is somewhat separate, different because of contracting authority, etc. But the recommendation was no, and the same recommendation was made by the city administrator. And with regard to today, saying that there was public notice
Yes.
about this. So if you already noticed it, dare say you do not turn off the virtual ability to view and attend because you already notified the public in that regard.
Okay.
However, with regard to participation by a member or an applicant of some sort, recommendation that
So from the attorney's point of view, we could have Dan watch and listen.
well, but not participate.
Right. Right.
And
Peggy, do you have
because
anything?
you've already noticed it
yeah.
for public watching.
So one of the questions the attorney participate. So during closed session, we would normally exclude the public.
I would say don't treat any different than the notice to the public.
So the public received a notice that they could jump onto, and how did we do that? Jump onto how did we do that? Chris?
On the, it was published with the agenda,
Part of the agenda.
and the attachment shows how to log on. We did have one commissioner that had difficulty.
Mine got forwarded to me because it goes to a different email address.
So we did have at least 3 other people that could do it, so something funny.
Maybe I'm thick, but I still didn't hear a reason why you didn't. All I heard was that we didn't recommend. I didn't hear the reason why you don't.
Inconsistent with all the other City of Franklin boards, committees, and commissions from the Common Council throughout.
That poses a problem for us how?
Administratively,
I was gonna say, I think it's an administrative issue. So during all of COVID, 2020 and 20, executive order that came out and it allowed certain things to happen. So there could be a perception in the public that if this committee does it one way and somebody else does it another way, it's going to be hard for us to get that out to the public. Not that we get a lot of public at this meeting, I get that, but and then also the virtual. In all of the emergency orders, there was no public on a virtual media. So that's not something the city's ever done. And could you imagine if there were 100 members of the public trying to, it would just be chaos. So really, I think the first one from the city attorney and myself has just been, the council's going to make a rule on making exceptions. We think that's fine. We just need global so that we can administer it appropriately. Public.
And also based upon the subject matters that we're talking about, could be a lot more people wanting to be participating.
Isn't that a good thing though for the public? I think it's a good thing.
Yes, but we want them to come here. Instead of virtual. Because that's what every other group is doing in the city.
I'm going to move to, it's no disrespect, but if he can't listen in on closed session anyway, then it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
Are you saying that we have to keep it up no matter what though? Because it was
up till the closed session.
Okay. I move to deny so that it stays within the standards of, the rest of the city.
Do you have to move to deny? We just have to put the motion up there and then no.
Or no action, actually, because you don't have that policy.
That's even better.
Just technically, I'm probably you are, Jack.
Yeah.
But technically, you could always set up a separate Zoom for just closed session. Shut the other. So, I mean, you could technically do it. The only thing, and it's not my position, but if whoever the leaders are, I do think that you should try and make it more available for more people. If they don't show up, they don't show up. They don't jump on Zoom, they don't jump on Zoom. But more people being able to participate, understand that sometimes it can be crazy, and having it in person, if you want to make comments, the only way you can make comments is to show up in person, but you serve. I mean, they used to have the common council meetings and stuff on cable all the time. You can watch whatever you want, the school board, whatever. I thought that was a good thing. I don't see that anymore.
It's still on YouTube.
Is that YouTube now?
It's live on YouTube and it's be playing on our city website. So that also could be an option, is that we could make a recommendation to have these public. Doing it with the public, we don't have the Zoom licenses appropriate so that we can just turn everybody off in mode. We just really run.
Right.
So when the council was doing it, we weren't allowing public to jump on.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, that could be disruptive. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, that could be disruptive. Well, if we don't have to take any action.
Okay, so then everybody's in agreement, we take no action, and you see Dan next time around.
Well, you can leave them on.
Okay, good. You can listen, you can't talk. Okay, we'd like a motion to approve our minutes from our August 17th meeting.
I'll move.
Second of our minutes from our August 17th meeting.
I'll move.
Second. Motion made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Need a motion to approve the voucher list.
I'll make a motion to approve the voucher list.
Is there a second?
Second.
I just have one question for my own benefit. Services Corporation is for water system bonds. It has to do with water. What's that?
When the water utility built the water and sewer building, water utility borrowed $1.3 million to do that. And this is the debt service that came due on $1.3 million to do that. And this is the debt service that came due on September 1st.
Got it.
For that. No.
So this is a payment, just a payment?
Right.
Okay, good, thank you.
As long as we're asking questions, what's the Mr. Car Wash? Are we just taking the fleet through?
If you're buying something with moonshine vehicles, Biopack moonshine vehicle wash.
Yeah, but the Mr. Car Wash, that's moonshine, I don't know. It's not that either. $1,500 for Mr. Car Wash?
On a vehicle.
We are, just so you know, we are looking to expand our DPW facility, and as part of that facility, we're looking at car wash, so we can take the city vehicles to that. That's being looked at.
And that's our portion of it. Yeah. Use a hose.
That's for a whole year?
Usually a month or every other month.
It's not from our end of it. We have one for $189, not $1,500.
Full reagent. Department 751 for $1,456.91 on the front page.
Sure enough.
It sounds
Hard drive.
computer related.
Yeah, hard drive, is that like something for the actual truck, like a mechanical?
Mr. Car
No,
Wash.
not at the car wash.
Yeah, the Mister, they do mechanical, small mechanical stuff too.
Oh, they've got the oil change place there.
So there was something else in that credit card. So I see what that is. So U.S. Bank, that's a credit card.
That's all of those U.S. bank charges are line items on a credit card, card.
So it could have been the car wash, could have been a hard drive, could have been a Hawk sample reagent, could have been.
Oh, so it's all those things?
Yes.
All of those things were charges on the credit cards.
That came to
We
that
have
amount.
2 credit card holders on the water utility.
So that 1,500.
Utility.
So that 1,500 was that a hard drive? Or
I don't know.
I'm asking Mike if he
I'll check into it and get back to you.
it was something on the credit card.
Well, we got it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Good catch. We'll find out.
Okay, report on the water system performance.
Okay, good evening. This month has been, fairly copacetic and flat. The whole crew took a class, about a 6.5-hour class with the Franklin Fire CPR and first aid, including Sherry, our secretary, and I walked away with a lot of good information. Looking at the records this morning, the utility right now is about 35 million gallons ahead of last year on our pumpage. So that should bring us into good shining coming down the stretch here. Myself and 2 men, Glenn Beardsley and Joe Hittman, we attended the Johnson Real Water Association conference in La Crosse. It was very informative and hands-on. It was very good to go. What else do we have? We had one hydrant hit night before Labor Day, the police got the person, and we're gonna have to replace the hydrant, but it's a insurance claim.
Good.
We had one lateral repair, which included 5, we had to include in it. We've had minimal water SCADA upgrades. We should be almost done with those for the year. The meter change-out program, we're at about 75% now, coming down the home stretch. So we should finish and hit our goal with them. So we should finish and hit our goal with that. And let's see, this Friday we're going to start reading meters, so should be done for the 3rd quarter. That's about it.
I think on the voucher list, the last amount of meters.
That should be the last amount for going into the fiscal year. So it'll be maybe odds and ends with the new construction that we can't forecast.
Sure.
But that would be the last big purchase. That would be the last big purchase.
Okay. We want to do any of these other 2 things down here?
I would suggest you might want to do your closed session.
Right, okay, so let's go to item B, authorization for a Horley Consulting contract. Baxter Woodman,
Actually, that should be after.
okay. 2022 capital projects.
Included in your packet is a list of the, that are anticipated for 2022. Wasn't looking for any action on your part tonight because it'll be included with the budget presentation next month. But because of the size of the water power project and the potential connection to a new wholesale supplier and those costs, felt you would be interested in seeing the total expenditures and the fact that the utility, it would be recommended to borrow $3.4 million to support those projects.
And that's an estimate on borrowing at the moment, or?
Yes.
Okay.
If you recall, in other periods, we've talked about the utility having a cap, if you will, on capital expenditures of about $250,000 on an annual basis, and that there's sufficient cash flow in the utility to support that type of expenditure limit. So if you took the 3.6 that's there and you borrowed 3.4, that leaves about $240,000 X that's being supported by internal cash flow generation.
Okay, any questions? We'll proceed. Where do you want to go now?
Closed session.
Did you do the water tower design update?
Oh, that's a good one. Where's that at?
6B?
6B, yep. It's hiding there.
Okay, let's do 6B, water tower design.
Thank you. On August, from the PSC and DNR, we received additional information from the DNR on September 10th. We completed that data request and uploaded the information earlier today. One of their biggest, I guess, concerns is the fact that we have the driveway crossing over that ribbon of wetland, the shared driveway to the north of your property. They consider that an navigable waterway because there's a 24-inch concrete culvert pipe coming underneath Highway 100, and just took a lot of monkeying around to set it. We think we have it on the run, but we just uploaded it today. It was all accepted early this afternoon. Rest of my notes here. Sorry.
Once it's accepted, is it accepted or is it?
Well,
Is it accepted or is it?
Well, with the PSC, you never can tell. There could be an additional data request. This may just be the DNR. There could be something coming out of PSC. I know that Paul had a conversation with Steve Kemna, and they had indicated potentially, Paul kind of chuckled about that because, and I guess I do too, I've never seen the PSC act that quickly. We hope they act that quickly, but that would be great, because once we have the CA, we want to have everything teed up so we can get the regulatory permits and get the plans, have everything teed up so we can get the regulatory permits and get the plans submitted to the DNR to get the approvals to move ahead with the project. We'd like to bid this mid to late January so we can start in the spring. That's about all.
Okay, item A, wholesale public water supply to Franklin 2024, the board may enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851E, to deliberate upon information, terms, and provisions of the potential provision of public water supply to the city of Franklin as related to the city, Franklin municipal water utility and its customers in 2024 and beyond, and the potential negotiation of terms in relation thereto, including but not limited to potential amendments to the agreement for Oak Creek to provide water at wholesale Franklin. Potential agreement terms with alternate public water supply sources, including but not limited to the city of Milwaukee and the Milwaukee Water Works. Financial analysis study of long-term water supply and the public funds and governmental action in thereto for competitive and bargaining reasons, and to re-enter open session the same place thereafter to act upon such matters discussed therein as it deems appropriate. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
By roll call, all those in favor?
Peterson, aye.
Security and I.
Bilski, aye.
Over aye. So we need authorization for hourly consulting contracts for Baxter Woodland and Clark Beach for assistance with the 2020 $20 per contract. There you go. That's the important part, not to exceed.
I make that motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion did authorize execution of the contracts, not to.
Yes. What on that?
No.
We made the motion.
Just did.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion
Can
is
have
there
the
not to
friendly amendment
exceed.
and just amend it.
What else needs?
Authorize the execution of contracts.
Authorize
Oh.
execution.
Is now.
That was his hint. Once he said that, I knew it was in there.
Okay.
I was asking.
That was his hint. Once he said that, I knew it was in there.
Okay.
I was asking.
He'll get papered right.
Okay. Now that thing that always is a lot of discussion is we need a motion for adjournment.